Shri Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om, Pranam Swami.
Before we go to the text, two things that came up this morning, which we would like to share. In everyday morning now, before the Namnam starts at 6:45, Papa prompts us to take a few lines from any of his books, and so that we prepare our mind to have the proper mindset while chanting. It may run riot, but still some effort. So in today's reading, it came up. Papa was mentioning about our sankalpa to reach the witness consciousness state. So Nama chanting should enable us to have a glimpse of that witness consciousness. So while thinking about that, while sharing some thoughts about witness consciousness, when we hear that, we may feel, it is another stage we have to develop, another state of mind. It is not. So suddenly the thought came to give more clarity that when we chant the Guru Sthiti, Guru, some slokas early in the morning here in the ashram, most of them are in Marathi or in Kannada. Those who are not conversant with that, they may not be able to go along with the theme, though they have a background that it is meant for revering the Guru. some words here and there may be there that will connect us to this bhava. That is also enough. But to eke out the maximum benefit, if it is possible for us to understand something more about the theme, it would be helpful. Similarly, when Papa said witness consciousness, when we say that Marathi we are not aware, then suddenly the expression came, I know that I don't know Marathi. I know that I know English. Please think about it. There is an awareness in us which says I don't know with reference to Marathi. With reference to English, I know. The no knowledge of Marathi and the yes knowledge of English is known by one, awareness. It might help us. Suddenly where from that came that awareness? The no knowledge of Marathi, the yes knowledge of English is known by us. With reference to Marathi, I don't know. With reference to English, I know. But both of them are illumined by one knowledge. What is that? No? It might help us. If we go a little more deeper into this, it might help us to capture something about this witness consciousness.
Hitherto you have been thinking that it is the mind that says, Swamiji. Hitherto you have been thinking that it is the mind that says it does not know, it knows.
You are thinking it was the mind.
You have to keep on doing it. You have to ask yourself. There is a knowledge there. It is not exactly the witness consciousness, but it gives us some idea about how to move forward. There is in us a knowledge which illumines the no knowledge and the yes knowledge. Papa wants us to know that as we keep on chanting, and we are supposed to hear it. Then the question comes, who is hearing and who is chanting? All inside, not outside. Then he says it will come to a stop. Stillness of the mind. Stillness of the mind, he has defined it as witness consciousness. And then finally he puts a stamp. Witness consciousness itself is God realization. Please think over, it might help. So that we are all sadhakas trying to move forward. So it might help us. That is one thing. Another thing is, when Ramnam initiation was going on, there is what we do is, many decades back, Papa was sharing about the sweetness of Ramnam. And at the end of it, he says, Ramdas will chant the mantra given to him by the Guru, word after word. Will you kindly join him? And then he will say Om, then we repeat Om. This is how we are. But when we were going through what Papa said, though many years we have been doing, today it struck us very clearly. That will also give us some idea. No. Not merely complete we have to read then, because it's a complex sentence. Sugar is sweet. By nature it is sweet. It can never be bitter. So the name is by nature sweet. But when the sweet sugar is put in the mouth of a man who is having some kind of fever, he finds the taste not sweet but bitter. He throws it away. That shows the man is diseased. When we are diseased with low desires, the name does not taste sweet to us. Why is it that we have been chanting it for now, decades, many of us? Do we find the sweetness? So when we are diseased with low desire, the name does not taste sweet to us. We must go to a doctor who can cure us of that disease. That doctor is the Guru, who by his presence removes our disease of desires and gives us this nectarian name. And you find that instant it is sweet, and sweetness comes to you as long as you are going on repeating the name until at last you become sweetness itself. Not merely the taster of the sweetness, but sweetness itself. So you drink and drink and drink the name until the drinker and the drink become one. So when we chant, the chanter and the chanting become one. Then only the sweetness can be experienced. Not that I am chanting. So long as that I am chanting is there, the sweetness will not be there. Because he says, so you drink and drink and drink the name until the drinker and the drink become one. The chanter and the chanting become one. Some clues, So while chanting, suppose we bring all these dimensions, it might help us. Out of say half an hour or 45 minutes chanting, there may be a time when 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times when we chant, there might be a blending, there might be a merger of this chanter and the chanting. And then let us see what it touches and evokes in us. Because all of us are chanting. Even now we start with chanting. But does the chanting and the chanter become one? So we pray to him. When we fail, we pray to him. You have mentioned that the chanter and the drinker and the drink become one. That means the chanter and the chanting should become one. So how do you please facilitate us to do that, to reach that stage? I cannot do that because the chanter is always there, So long as the chanter is there, this will not take place. The chanter has to quit. And the chanter cannot say, you quit. He is still there. So we invoke his blessings to see that the chanter merges in the chanting. Beyond that, we cannot express. Is it clear to everybody?
Okay, Swami. Yes, Swami. Very, very clear.
So this is something, we have to keep on thinking. In one of his lectures in Glimpses of Divine Vision, he had mentioned that the remembrance as such ceases. We are trying to remember him through chanting. So we may have a notion, we remember. How do I remember others? I am there to remember the object or the person or the situation. No? First I am there. And that is why I remember. So always the remembering entity is always there, then it can never take place. So when we keep on chanting to develop this consciousness, God consciousness, Papa says the remembrance as such ceases. That means the entity remembering is not there. Though it has been there and we have been, all of us have been reading it, probably this would not have drawn our attention. No? To always keep the name of God on the lips or in the mind is not the whole thing in the matter of God remembrance. Constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such ceases. Why he is making us to point out, he has been telling us and we have been reading that while chanting side by side, we should bring the attributes of God. So the mind will be thinking that I must do this also, no? And we try, we may fail, chanting and this reflection on the attributes. But probably some of us might be able to do it. And then also the feeling of moving towards consciousness, it is still there, that feeling. It will make us to distance ourselves from the goal to be achieved. So in spite of doing it, why are we not getting grounded? Here he answers, constant repetition of the name ultimately takes you to the consciousness of God, wherein remembrance of Him as such, not that remembrance goes away, remembrance of Him as such, where we try to remember an object, we try to remember a situation, we try to remember a person. The remembering entity and the remembered entity, both are there. So long as these are there, the ultimate is still far away from us. So Papa gives us a clue that the moment the remembering entity becomes one with the remembered, drinker and the drink become one, no?
That's the basis for it.
Eh?
They are the compromise basis.
Nobody will be there to say that, no? And it becomes now very, very clear when he says, I am chanting the name of one who is making me to chant, no? So this I and the one which there is a blending. So this is also, we are placing it before everybody. All of us are sadhakas. In our own way, we are trying. So these two principles which stuck to us this morning, we thought we would share it with you. Is it somewhat clear? It is highly subjective, but whatever he prompted us, we had shared. Is it somewhat clear?
Yes, it is an experience.
Swamiji, clear.
Ah, sure, okay.
Swamiji,
Totally subjective, Swamiji.
Ah, correct.
It is totally subjective.
Ah, and we also now remember, these are all the revelations of Papa.
Yes, Swami.
From his sadhana. So when he has given us the name, when he wants us to chant the name, when he insists that it should go hand in hand with the reflection on the attributes, and he has praised before us this also, which he had scaled, which he had succeeded. That's why he is giving it out. So then we have been chanting for the past so many decades, but still we don't feel that he is making us to do. There may be somebody who may be having it, but most of us still feel we are doing it. So that is why the ultimate goal is still far away from us. So here is another clarity he gives, that remembrance as such ceases. It's a wonderful word. And today when we were at the time of initiation, when this drinker, and so many times you have heard, but today the morning bhajan hall, he made us to concentrate upon this. And then in the 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, when somebody came for initiation, when we were repeating it, it became somewhat more clear. Is that not what he made us to dwell in the morning? So drink and drink and drink until the drinker and the drink become one. And here he says,
Swamiji, Swamiji, when I heard that drink and drink and drink, and those words touching, very touching, Swamiji.
Correct.
At the time of initiation.
Correct.
Papa,
Yeah.
very touching.
Swami, source is
That touching means that we were able to get something of it,
Yes, Swami. Yes, Swami.
That is what is we say touching. This fellow, the fellow who sits for initiation, sense of individuality, steps out for a trice.
Yes.
And that is that sweetness. That is the sweetness which he has been telling, Papa has been telling. So now...
When I heard that three words, drink and drink and drink.
Correct. Please think about it. Please think about it. Not to be limited to initiation. We should keep on thinking why I don't feel. Ultimately, we have to become aware that even these words are coming because of him who is within. That awareness should be always with us. This is the truth, not we are imposing or assuming something. The truth is, he is there in the form of life force, consciousness, intelligence, and that is why these words are coming, hand is moving, eyes are looking, ears are hearing, all these things are happening because he is there. Which fact we still feel it is an object, it's an object. So Papa has been trying to bring out all these clarity one by one. So think about all these things, okay? We will go back to Bhagavad Gita. A few words about Bhagavad Gita for those who are attending for the first time. Bhagavad Gita, the moment we hear the word Bhagavad Gita, we develop a reverence for that. Immediately also we will buy a book, or we may be having a book, but we keep it in the shelf. Because we have not yet understood that it has got something to do with our daily life.
Swamiji, you got logged out.
Oh,
You got logged out.
you were able to hear, na?
Just now, just now logged out.
Yes, no. Only for that.
Shraddha came just now into it.
Before that it was
Yeah.
there.
Because they were talking also.
So we keep it in our shelf because we have not been taught, we have not been prompted, motivated to connect it with our daily life. So here is an attempt prompted by him now, how to move from the shelf to the self, or from reverence to relevance in our life. Reverence means a particular place we say, I am. But when we go to a temple, this is what happens, we go to a puja room in our house, we perform, we get some joy, thrill, come out of it, there is no change in us. Go to a temple, we come out, there is no change in us. We pray for something, that's all. Actually, it is not meant for that. Just like Mataji always keeps on hammering that ashram is a school, you come here to learn universal love and service. That means how to expand from me to we. So if with that attitude, if we try to join all the programs and try to ask ourselves, how do I expand? Just because I attend this, how do I expand? How do I know that I'm interconnected, interdependent, interrelated with the rest of the creation? Then only I can expand, So all these thoughts will keep on coming as we keep on plunging into the various activities in the ashram. In what way does it help us? Then we may not be very clear. After 1 or 2 or 3 or a few attempts, slowly we might understand, Morning when we get up, when we take the brush, we will remember, I have not manufactured this. I have not conceived this. Somebody has conceived. And a team of people must have improved it. And finally it became a product and I am using it. It helps me to brush my teeth. So I have not done. Like that any item, when we keep on doing it, we know we have not done it. We owe to the creation. We owe to the creation. The moment we get up, we become aware. We may not be aware that we are breathing. And suddenly, suppose some struggle comes, some lung problem comes. COVID, those of us who have had this COVID attack might always remember the direct attack. When we are struggling for oxygen, then only we know that without oxygen we cannot. And we are not even aware that oxygen is made available to us freely. Water is made available. Space is made available. Earth is made available. Sun is made available. Everybody is equal, no? Think. So slowly we try to understand that we are what we are because of the creations other than me, either in the form of Mother Nature or in the form of society. So when I intellectually understand this, how do I try to give my share? So all my thoughts, all my words, all my deeds, I slowly try to ensure that it is not coming back to me and mine, me and mine, me and mine. This is what exactly Papa Mataji wanted all of us to do. So the me to we, me to we, me to we, not because somebody said. Papa has placed before us everything in a rational way, logical way, scientific, absolutely scientific. So like that, we try how to link. Now this becomes, ashram, we say, it becomes something to do. So when we go back, at least this will be there, because wherever we go, the air we are breathing, the sun it is there, space is there, and you are having anything, any article that will tell you have not done it. So slowly, when we come here, when we go back, something else is also with us. Similarly, this is not happening to us when we go to an ashram or a temple or in our own puja room. We go there as a discipline, we perform some rituals, some prayer, some lighting the lamp. Somebody may be also doing puja, and we come out. We have a satisfaction. We cannot explain that, but there is a satisfaction. That way we are repeating yesterday. What we did yesterday, we are repeating it today. But when we deal with men and matter, there is no change. This expansion is not taking place. Again, it is back to me and mine. So when I go to puja room, I always pray for me to me only. I want this, I want that, I want. Please bless me with this, bless me with that. Nothing wrong, initially nothing wrong. But later on, as Papa Mataji's spiritual children, this is what they want. Expand, expand, expand. So, like that, Bhagavad Gita stands for this expansion. So it has got everything to do with our life. So now when we have not been told, we don't know Sanskrit, we have not learned it in the traditional way, so it is an uphill task for all of us. So with all that, now he has provided an opportunity to go deep into a few slogas, which he prompts us from within, and then connect it to a example, which either we have heard or seen or experienced, so that we can slowly link. This is the effort is being made. Every day we share. Today's K.V. Bascaran, a 40-year-old deputy HR manager in Krompet, Chennai, leads a modest life. With a homemaker, wife, and 2 school children, his income is just enough to cover the family's basic needs. There are no luxuries, no savings, just the essentials. Yet, every month, Bascaran performs an act of quiet generosity that touches many lives. On the first of each month, Bascaran collects rice using both his and father's ration card. He delivers 30 kg of rice to Amrita Rajagopalan, a devoted social worker who supports 57 care homes for orphans, the elderly and the disabled. Amrita distributes the rice to those in urgent need, bringing hope and sustenance to the most vulnerable. Bascaran has followed this practice for 3 years. This is my way of helping the less fortunate, he says. I could not afford to join social service clubs due to their fees, but I found Amrita and decided to help in my own way. Unable to make cash donations, he uses his ration card as a tool for service. He also encourages others to donate old clothes, placing free ads, and speaking to people directly. We all must do our bit to help those who have less. Me to we, me to we. Bascaran's actions are not driven by desire for recognition or reward. He gives quietly, without expectation, making his work an offering of compassion and selflessness. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, sloga number 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya चेतसा निराशीर निर्ममो भूत्वा युद्धस्य विगतज्वरा. Performing all works as an offering unto me, constantly meditate on me as the Supreme, become free from desire and selfishness, and with your mental grief departed, fight. Fight means here we are our life, battle of life. So Bascaran's service is a living example of this teaching. He performs his action as an offering, free from desire for personal gain or recognition. He is not attached to the results, nor does he act out of selfishness. His heart is set on helping others, and in doing so, he finds fulfillment and peace. True service is not measured by wealth or grand gestures, but by the spirit of selfless offering. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us to dedicate our actions to a higher purpose, free from attachment and expectation. Bascaran's quiet generosity reminds us that even small acts done with love and humility can bring light and hope to the world. When we act without selfishness, every deed becomes a sacred offering. See, one act, now we are trying to understand the meaning of this sloga, Not the textual meaning as such, but the thematic, what it contains. The cream of that. Because what had happened 6,000 years ago, it cannot be replicated today. But what is the essence of that, we take it, leaving the sloga and Kurukshetra there, and then bring it to 2025 and see, and then fit in. This is the methodology he is prompting us. Normally we get stuck to the slogas and meaning. We learn by heart, that's all. Because it is not linked to our life, we get some joy by chanting, that's all. But now a little more sweetness comes. Oh, we now try to understand that it has got something to do with our very life. And he is placing before us anecdotes, life examples, to understand the meaning. When we keep on going through like this, a culture gets developed in us unknowingly, where we try to connect it in our life to be lived also. So far, we are connecting to the life lived so far, but this process will ultimately help us to connect it with the life to be lived. Next one, the girl who thought of others. On Children's Day, excitement filled the air as Preeti, a bright class 3 student, stood in line to receive chocolates at school. Children's Day. Like every child, she eagerly accepted her chocolate, dashed away. Yet moments later, she returned to the queue. The teacher, a bit surprised, handed her another chocolate. Preeti smiled and ran off again. To the teacher's growing annoyance, Preeti came back the third time. This time the teacher gently scolded her, reminding her that others deserved chocolates too. But Preeti, undeterred, simply smiled, left once more. When Preeti returned for the fourth time, the teacher finally warned her, if you keep coming back, there won't be enough for anybody else. Preeti just again smiled, took the chocolate and left. Curious and concerned, the teacher decided to follow her. Outside the school gate, the teacher witnessed a touching scene. 5 physically challenged children waiting in wheelchairs were each receiving a chocolate from Preeti. She had been returning to the line again and again, not for herself, but to share the joy of Children's Day with those who could not stand in line. Realizing her mistake, the teacher rushed to Preeti, apologized, and said, wait, I will get you a whole packet. Preeti's quiet act of kindness had shown that true love is giving without expecting anything in return, even when misunderstood or scolded. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 5, sloga number 3. Nyehas nityasanyasi yonadveshtina kakshati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. The karma yogis who neither desire or hate anything should be considered always renounced, free from all dualities. They are easily liberated from the bonds of material energy. Free from all dualities, no otherness. She did not feel the 5 children as another. Preeti's actions are a living example of this teaching. She did not act out of desire for some chocolates, more chocolates. Did she feel upset by the teacher's scolding? Nor did she feel upset by the teacher's scolding. Free from selfishness and dualities, desire and aversion, she simply acted out of pure compassion. Giving joy to others without any expectation or complaint. True greatness lies in selfless action, in giving without expectation and remaining undisturbed by praise or blame. As the Gita teaches, those who are free from desires and dualities are liberated and find true happiness. Preeti's simple act reminds us that real love is quiet, persistent, unconditional, touching lives even when misunderstood. The subtle message is me too, we, So Gita highlights this. So right from morning till evening, when we handle things at home, at office, or the workplace, or with our friends, suppose we try to associate ourselves with these thoughts, don't you think it will percolate in our thoughts, words and deeds in a simpler way, in a humble way? Or even when we have crossed the limit, we will at least know that we have crossed the limit. We may fail, we may forget, but we may also remember. This is the tangible gain to improve the quality of our life. Giving back more than what we have taken. Right from the seed level up to this moment, everything that we are and we have, it has come from factors other than us. Which fact we were not told, we were not taught, we were not kindled, we were not aware. So not automatically the me and mine got dominated in our life. We may not take away somebody's, we are leading a righteous life, but this expansion has not taken place. So first stage, as spiritual aspirants or devotees, we lead a righteous life, simple life. We don't snatch somebody's property. As far as possible, we try to hold on to truth. So many things we have developed, we have seen. But ultimately, all these things should drive us to expansion from me and mine, because we owe everything. This is being gently reminded by Bhagavad Gita, not directly. That is the difference between Bhagavad Gita and other things. Suppose you go to a dictionary, it will give you straight away the meaning of the word you are searching for. Suppose you want to know something, you go to the text, it will give you. But here it is not direct. It makes you to think over, reflect. And when he made us to do the research, it became very clear to us. Many of you might be knowing, might not be knowing. That is why we are reminding it again. That in the 18th chapter, 63rd shloka, Lord Krishna says, that means after completing 662 shlokas, there are 700 shlokas in it. He says, I have told you what is to be conveyed. Now, you think about it, you reflect upon it, and do it as you prompted from within. He is not thrusting or forcing anything. This is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. It gives us total freedom. So with that freedom, we try to reflect and put it in our own way, not in the way in which somebody has said or behaved. So when we know about Preetis or Bascarans, suddenly, we start reflecting. Ultimately, it is not anywhere mentioned me to we, but we get the message, latent message, that which is the hidden message, that expansion from me to we. We will move one more. Because all of us are in the lively chaos of a hostel, students' hostel. One morning began with a burst of frustration. A student stormed out of the washroom, his voice echoing down the corridor. Whoever used it before me did not bother to clean up. How can people be so careless? His complaint drew a crowd with which heads nodding in agreement and a few joining in the chorus of grumbling. Amidst this commotion, another student quietly observed. Without a word, he walked into the washroom, rolled up his sleeves, cleaned it thoroughly. He did not announce his deed, did not look for witnesses, and certainly did not expect thanks. When he finished, he returned to his room, a calm and contented smile on his face. His peace coming not from recognition, but from knowing he had simply done what was needed. The second student did not waste energy on blame or complaint. He focused on the need of the moment and acted selflessly, embodying the true spirit of Karma Yoga. work done for its own sake, not for applause or reward. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, sloka number 19. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyajaran karma paramapnoti purusha. Therefore, always perform your duty efficiently without attachment to the results, because by doing work without attachment, one attains the Supreme. These are all from Bhagavad Gita. The second student's action is a living example of this teaching. He performed his duty cleaning the washroom, not for recognition or reward, but simply because it was the right thing to do. Free from attachment to the outcome, he found inner peace and satisfaction. True fulfillment comes from selfless action, not from seeking praise or reward. As the Gita teaches, when we perform our duties without attachment to results, we rise above ego and complain, discovering a deeper peace and purpose. The world is uplifted not by those who shout about problems, but by those who quietly step forward to serve. Simple act, Not only in hostel, in ashram also it will happen. In any place, common place, it will happen. We remember when Papa was asked by a devotee, if someone misappropriates funds of ashram funds, will you hand over to the police? Papa immediately asked, if he, suppose you are running it, and if he happens to be your brother or son, what will you do? You may punish him, admonish him, so many, but you will not hand over to the police. The sense of otherness is not there. So here again, he did not feel the sense of otherness. Somebody out of absent-mindedness, they would not have flushed it. That's all. Somebody has to do it. It can happen to anybody. Suppose you see a light burning, immediately you go and switch off and go back. Not for recognition. In a place like ashram, whenever we find one switch, we will bother. There may be definitely, suppose somebody just goes from the room without switching off. Instead of blaming, we go and switch off, that's all, Probably some telephone call would have come, somebody would have asked, immediately he would have gone there. Absent-mindedly he would have gone there, that's all. So why we make such a big fuss? All that we need is to go and switch off. And suppose it is repeated, you can gently, lovingly say, please ensure that the life is put off before you go. That's all. Finished. So the message, what Gita gives us the message. Please think about it. Is it not related to our daily life? So this is how, when we try to go through, we understand Gita should move from shelf to self, should move from reverence to relevance. In the bustling environment of a hospital ward, a nurse moved quietly and efficiently from bed to bed. With gentle hands and a compassionate heart, she comforted the anxious, administered medicines, cleaned up after those who could not help themselves. Whether she received a grateful smile or a grumble from the patient, her demeanor remained steady, her kindness unwavering. One day, a new trainee, overwhelmed by the demanding and sometimes unpleasant nature of the work, asked, how do you manage to do even the most difficult and unpleasant tasks without feeling upset or attached? The nurse replied with a warm and serene smile, I focus on the care, not on my likes or dislikes. My duty is to serve, and I do it with compassion, leaving aside attachment or aversion. This word, attachment or aversion. Because she removes our human waste, If I let my personal preferences rule me, I would not be able to give every patient the care they deserve. Connection to Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 3, sloka number 34. इंद्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिबन्धिनौ. Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses abide in the senses, sense organs. One should not come under their sway, for they are our foes, enemies. The nurse's attitude is a living example of this teaching. She does not let her personal likes and dislikes, attachment and aversion, influence her work. Instead, she performs her duty with equanimity and compassion, serving all patients equally, no matter how challenging the task or how the patient responds. True Karma Yoga is to serve selflessly without being ruled by personal preferences or aversions. The Gita teaches us that attachment and aversion are obstacles on the path of duty and inner peace. Like the nurse, when we rise above these dualities and focus on our responsibilities with a steady mind, we embody the spirit of selfless service and find fulfillment in our actions. When we read this, we have shared this in our Satsang. One direct experience, comes again for the sake of those who have not heard it. We are repeating it because our gratitude is there for those sisters. It was in 1884 when we met with a serious accident, multiple fracture. We were admitted in the hospital. We stayed in the hospital for 10 days. Complete plaster on the right leg, complete up to this, and the left leg and this one. Left leg and right hand. Practically we were immobile for a month. We then moved to somebody, some close friend of us. He took us. That was in 1884. 1994. The host who took care of us for 2 months, when we went to Wayanad, every 15 days we used to go to Wayanad at that time from ashram. So we happened to know that she has been admitted. So we went to see her. She's more than a sister. So then, as we were discussing about it, 2 sisters came in. They looked at us and said, "You lift your right hand?" Because we could not. I was stunned, Oh, somewhat better now. How did you know that? Were you not in this room 10 years back? That day I knew why I am addressing them as sister. It is not the sister we all normally use. When we call sister, they are a part of our family, So then we were stunned. That's why we are still remembering, 94, 2004, 2014, 2024 has gone again after this incident. 30 years. Eh?
What you said just now? Can you repeat the incident? Last.
So when we were there, the 2 sisters came to that room to take care of the patient there. Suddenly when they saw us, she looked at us. At that time the plaster was here, and here. So there was a fracture here. There was a fracture here. So for months together we cannot lift. At that time everything has to be done by left hand. So immediately as soon as she saw we were free from everything, 10 years after, she suddenly asked, with all, that there was no reluctance, there was nothing. Just like your own blood sister. She said, "You lift your right hand?"
Okay, that sister only took care of you. Yeah, 10 years.
10 years back. So then we suddenly, we couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Because we used to go to that hospital, all of them are known to us. We used to take a lot of patients there when we were working in the estate. Then how did you know that? Were you not here?
No.
Oh, with plastered. That day, God gave us that opportunity. Why are we addressing them as sisters? This, when we read the word attraction and aversion, we pass urine, we pass stools, we pass phlegm, then without aversion, we vomit, we spit unknowingly. Then we remembered why the hands off to that person who named them as sisters. We call them sisters, no? So true karma yoga. Attachment and aversion for the objects of the senses abide. In the senses, one should not come under their sway, for they are one's foes. Foes mean enemies. These are all from Bhagavad Gita. Not a shloka to be recited and kept. Slowly it will enter into us or we enter into it. Either of these will take place, All are attentively listening. One more. During his visit to Badrinath, Papa's, Beloved Papa encountered a large crowd at the temple entrance. A side door was reserved for the sick, and two pandas stood there managing the entry. Papa approached the door, hoping for darshan. One of the pandas asked, "Are you ill?" Papa said, "No." Pandas then suggested softly, "Then you say you are. Only then can you enter." Papa bowed his head and said firmly, "Never. Ramdas will not seek the darshan of the Lord through falsehood. To lie is against God's will." With that, he turned to leave, but moved by Papa's integrity, the panda caught his hand, led him inside with reverence, and ensured that he had darshan and prasad. Commitment to truth, even in the face of denied access, demonstrated that genuine devotion does not compromise integrity. In the end, it was his truth that opened the doors, not a lie. This incident beautifully echoes Bhagavad Gita chapter number 16, sloga number 1 and 2. Apayam santashun suddhir jnana yoga vyavastiti. Apayam sattva samshuddhir jnana yoga vyavastiti dhanam damascha yajnascha swadhyayastapa arjavam ahimsa satyam. Satyam akrodam tyagam shanti apaishunam Daya Bodeshu Aloluptam Mardavam Hri Achaparam. So here so many he is listing. What is the Devi Sampat? In that the truth, Ahimsa Satyam Akrodam. Fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in knowledge, yoga, charity, self-restraint, sacrifice, study of scriptures, austerity, straightforwardness, non-violence, truthfulness, absence of anger, renunciation, peace, absence of crookedness. He lists, the Lord lists what are the Devi Sampat, what are Asuri Sampat. Both are there in us. Gita's inter-study of Gita will enable us to recognize that both are within us. And then an inclination come to go along with the Devi Sampat to resist the Asuri Sampat. So this is how we are now being provided a wonderful opportunity to connect our daily happenings with what has been explained in Bhagavad Gita. We have just made a beginning, He made us to now go to 200 odd slokas and to get examples out of 700. Still the project is on. And those of you who have not had this, you may kindly give your WhatsApp number or email, or if it's not available for nobody, I think somebody, if somebody is not there, you can give to Chandranandji, so that you will get every Friday something of this. It is called shelf to self. SS. Not in descriptive way, 2 line, 3 line example, because in WhatsApp you will not see more than a minute or 2 or 3. So we have compressed it, 2 or 3 lines, that's all. 2 examples, sloga, meaning. And again 2 slogas, examine. So the 2 slogas and 4 examples, you will get it in just read. That is how we are initiated into this process. So those who have not given, may kindly give. Uma Shankar is not there, so you can give to her. Okay, more of it day after tomorrow. So this is how it is being introduced. No? And not only that you go through this, with this bhavana when you take up the Gita book, and when we approach it with this, I can assure you 100%, you will also start connecting with the examples you have seen, heard, or oh, this is that. Immediately make a note. Need not be in elaborate. You can send us so that we can put it. It will be not only useful for you, it will be useful for us, it will be useful for people who are reading it. This is how the Gita project, we all jointly take it up. Is that clear? Try, okay?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, yes. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam. Namaskaram, Namaskaram. Namaskaram, Namaskaram. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, 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 Pranam.